Hello everyone, this is Lam here. In today's Fuji Friday, we're going to be talking more about firmware again. There's a lot of new cameras with firmware and a lot of people want to know about them. Also, we got some clarification on the X-T3's new video modes that they're going to be getting in version 2.0 of the firmware update. So I definitely want to share that with you. And lastly, I want to talk about the new XF 8 to 16mm f2.8 lens because it is a very nice lens, but for video purposes, I'm still kind of wavering on whether or not I actually want that lens. So let's go ahead and get right into it. There's actually a lot of new cameras with firmware, but I don't have these cameras. That's the reason why I didn't go over them. But I have gotten feedback from people that they actually like having one place to look for all of the firmware updates and not having to repeatedly check a website. So here are the firmware updates for the camera systems within the Fuji lineup. The first one that we're going to be going over is the GFX50S. That's the medium format cameras. Looks like there's going to be a few minor updates, but for anybody with that camera, I'm sure that's going to be welcome firmware. Definitely pause the video if you want to read over that. The next camera we're going to be discussing is the Fuji XF10. This is a smaller camera system, so definitely pause the video if you want to read over that. Looks like a couple of other minor updates. And the last one that we're just going to be quickly reviewing is the X-T100. Definitely a very good beginner vlogging camera if you actually want one. The only issue with that one is that it really doesn't have usable video 4K. It does have 4K for still images, but not so much for video. So definitely look at that if you actually want to get into vlogging at an entry-level price. But in all honesty, I would encourage you to save up more money and try one of the higher X series cameras for vlogging purposes because they do have very nice usable 4K images. Moving on to the X-T3, we actually got some clarification from Fujifilm on what type of video recording modes we're going to be getting for version 2.0 of the X-T3's firmware update. And from the chart, it looks like both DCI and standard television 4K will be getting all of the video recording settings, which is going to be super nice. So if you're actually using DCI format, which is the film format, now you can actually record in slow motion in your native format and also standard television formats. There are other mirrorless cameras out there that do DCI 4K. Unfortunately, they cannot do high frame rates or frame rates that you can use to do slow motion. So having this firmware update allowing them to do that is going to be a definite benefit and also a differentiator. If this is something that's important to you, definitely pause the video, check out the chart, or go to Fujifilm's website and check out the information. The last item that I want to talk about for this week is the new XF 8 to 16mm f2.8. So this is going to be their widest lens that they currently have available, and it's also at a very fast f2.8. This looks to be a great lens. Definitely for still photography, if you need an ultra wide, you definitely want to get this one. The only problem is that I am a video first type of shooter right now, and for that specific purpose, I'm kind of wavering on this lens, mostly because there is no optical image stabilization. This is definitely a lens that I would love to have, but when it doesn't have optical image stabilization, it kind of limits me on the type of camera bodies that I want to use. Specifically, I would only want to use it on the XH1 when I'm hand holding it, which is what I'm doing the vast majority of times. This is the same problem that I have with the 16 to 55 f2.8. It is an amazingly sharp lens. It's a really great lens, and I would love to own that lens. And I've had opportunities to actually own that lens at a very good affordable price used. The problem is that it doesn't have image stabilization inside the lens, which inherently limits me on the camera bodies that I want to use it on. So I'm kind of wavering on whether or not I want to invest money into the 8 to 16. By the way, if you are interested in having that lens and you're not a professional who can make money off of that lens, I highly encourage you to wait for that lens to go on sales. Fujifilm puts their lenses on sale almost all the time, multiple times a year, and you should definitely wait for that lens to go on sale if you're going to buy it brand new. Now, if you're going to buy it used, definitely pick it up whenever you can, but I have a feeling that this lens is kind of specialized and you might not be able to find that lens in the used market very much. It's kind of like the 80mm macro. I've been looking for a used version of that lens for quite a while now, and they don't really pop up very often, and when they do, it's still fairly expensive. It's almost better to buy that 80mm lens new when it's on sale. What I probably will do is I'm going to go ahead and rent that lens for a weekend, and I'm going to plan out a few events for it. If you have any specific things that you want me to test, definitely write in the comments below, and I'll definitely try to get to them when I rent that lens. but I'm really interested in trying out that lens to see if it actually fits my vlogging style of filmmaking. If it does, then I'm definitely going to try to pick one up, but I definitely will wait for a sale or try to find one in the used market. That's all I have to cover this week, so it's going to be a short one. If you have any questions, please leave in the comments below, and I will see you in the next video.